Hello everybody, it's Donna. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is part of the Alphabet Inspiration Card Challenge, and today's letter is the letter K. I am going to be using kite as the word for my inspiration today. So I have a plan for this card. Hopefully it turns out. If not, you will never know because I will just start over. What I'm using today is the Best Year stamp set. Now this coordinates with, or this can bundle right now with the plaid dies. I do have the plaid dies as well, but I'm not using those today. I'm just using two of the sentiments out of this one. The happy birthday to you and wishing you your best year yet out of this. I'm also using 3 die sets. Now you don't need these die sets. I'm using the Stitch Shapes framelit dies. I'm using one of the squares that measure approximately 1 3/4 inches, the whole thing. I'm also using one of the layering squares dies. This one measures about maybe 1.25 inches. You can also just cut your own die squares out to measure that. I'm also using the stitched rectangles. I just used that to cut 2 of them out. I used the largest one. This is just going to be for the front and for the inside of the card. You could just cut, your standard mat at 5 1/4 by 4 for both pieces, and that would work fine. But because I had the dies, I figured why not? Might as well use them. I also grabbed some of the enamel dots. And this is, I think, Night and Navy twines for the tail of the kite, I'm hoping. And those are the 2 dies I still need. Then I'm going to need some, I'm using Misty Moonlight, one of the ink colors that just came out. This one is 11 by 4 1/4. It's scored at 5 1/2 to form our top folding card. And then the 2 pieces that I already said, the Whisper White. And then I'm using one of the DSPs for the actual kite. You could use maybe just Misty Moonlight cardstock or a DSP. What I'm going to do first is take these 2 dies and just simply cut them out. Okay, so there's the 2 die cuts that I did with those squares. For the smaller one, I need to cut it right in half. I could use my paper trimmer, but it's really tiny and it's hard to line up. So I'm just going to draw a line from point to point. And then take my scissors and simply cut it right along that line. And I'm going to have 2 triangles there that we're going to just put off to the side. Now, that's technically going to be the top of the kite. Okay, so for this one, I can't do that because I don't want it to be that shape. I need it to be slightly different. So I'm just going to use my grid paper to kind of give me an idea of where the center is. So this one cuts out at basically 1 and just over 1 1/2, maybe 1 5/8. And I need to find the center of that. So I'm just going to move it over so it basically has the same amount on either side. Put a little tick mark where the center is. You could also just fold it in half, but I don't want any extra lines there. Yeah. And then I'm going to go from that point down to where I put the mark. And then do the same thing this way, from this corner down to where I put the mark. It's pretty simple. And then I'm going to cut along those lines. Okay, now these 2 are actually extras, but they do actually kind of form a kite as well, but I'm not going to be using it in this card. So for this one, how we form the kite is we're taking just one of these. The other one can be used for another kite. And we're putting it on the top. Now you can put the same pattern, or you can put a different pattern, the other side of the pattern. Not sure which way I'll go yet. And make sure my pencil marks aren't showing. Okay, move this off to the side and bring back my card base. Now I want a little trail here, but before I go too far, I actually want to stamp my sentiment. Just because if I get everything glued on and screw up my sentiment, I'm not going to be very happy. Okay, my sentiment is on this block, but I'm just going to try to get it a little bit more even. And I think we'll just use some memento. Just going to stamp it to see how straight it actually is. See if I need to adjust it at all. Not too bad. I'll go with it. I'm going to use my grid paper again to make sure the cardstock itself is even. And then because I know it's even on my block, I can just line the block edge up with the edge of the card. Not too bad. It's not perfect, but it'll do. And then while we have the ink here, I'm going to stamp the inside of my card with the saying that I want. But again, I'm going to try to get it a little bit more even. And I'm really just eyeballing it, so. Not too bad. So I know it's pretty much even. As long as I keep this block straight, should be fairly straight on my card. Not horrible. Could be better. I did get a little smuck of ink there, which I think I'll try to take off with my Tombow Mono sand eraser. So let's glue that down to the front inside, just to get it out of the way. Now because I use the die, the Stitch Rectangles dies, it gives me a little bit bigger border. Sorry, I know I'm making a lot of noise here. And I'm just going to smooth it out to make sure the glue is all smoothed out and even, so it'll stay right on. Got a little bit of glue there. Didn't want that. Okay. And now we'll work on the front. Now we have to decide which way I want if I want the kite to do just like that, or whether I want the two patterns showing. And I kind of think I like the two patterns showing. I also think it might do with a little bit of sponging just around the edges. So let me grab the Misty Moonlight and a sponge for that. I did think of maybe stitching some lines with a black marker, just because they're already there on the one side, but you can't really even see them. So I don't know, maybe I won't bother. But you know what? I think that would add a little bit of a detail if I did that. So let me grab a black marker. Yeah, this is my basic black, and on the little tip, I'm just going to do little tiny stitch marks. Okay, now I want to put this on using dimensionals, I think. Of course, I'm creating this card on the fly, so I'm not really sure what I want, so. Now, because this is just paper and not cardstock, I think I'm going to use a couple on this bigger one. I think on this one, I wonder if I have any, or I might have to cut. Oh, here we have some of these ones. And then we'll just cut them. These are just the edge pieces that you can use as well. At least not whatnot, right? Okay, so that's going to go on that card like that. Oh, that's cute. Now I have to decide on the tail before I actually put that down. So as I said, this is some twine from the, I think this was, I'm not even sure if this is still available, but it's from, I think the Sail Away or Sailing Away Suite from last catalog. Don't think I want to have it tied to the actual, I was going to tie it, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make a bow. Oops. Don't think I need it that long either. Maybe like that. Okay, well that didn't help me much. I went and looked it up online to see how many I should put more than one, and I think most of the ones I saw had more than one bow on it. So we will make a couple more bows. Okay, so let's glue this down, or take the release paper off and put these down. And I'm going to tuck the tail actually right underneath. And then I think I want a little bit of a bend, and I want it to be glued down the tail a little bit. I don't think I want to use glue though. I think a glue dot might be better, just so I don't get glue everywhere. For the end of the tail, I am going to use glue, and that's simply because I want the tail not to fray, and because I'm going to put a bow on it. Use glue dots, I think, to put these down. Oops. This one's going on the end, so it's going to stick right on the top of the glue anyway, so. Now I do have some of these that I could sprinkle around the card. I don't think it's necessary though, so I don't think I will. This is what happens when you don't really plan out a card. I think we'll just put a little bit of edging of the Misty Moonlight right on the edge. I did get a little bit extra there. That's probably from my finger though, and it is. And we'll just put some more dimensionals on it. As long as we make sure we stick it exactly where it goes, we'll be good. Okay, and there's our little kite card. Please subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified each time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.